On Twitter, I just asked attorney Jeremy Hogan and attorney John Deaton if a judge could throw out a case based on its lack of standing or because of the grounds that it was submitted under, it was protecting someone or something, obviously because of this Ripple versus the SEC case. So if you want to follow along and see what they actually answer, I put a link down in the description below. You can follow me on Twitter and see what they actually respond, because I asked them that for a specific reason. In this video, I'm going to talk about a piece of other video that was just unearthed by even more Twitter investigators that is starting to put this puzzle together with the old SEC regime and why they're actually going after Ripple. This is going to be an interesting one. And in other big news today, Twitter actually just announced that they are making tips for Twitter users accessible via Bitcoin, meaning you can now tip Bitcoin to your favorite creator. I'm going to talk about what they're actually doing with it and what else Jack Dorsey has up his sleeve for Bitcoin and Twitter. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. And right now on this channel, we are covering the SEC versus Ripple case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, personal finance. So if any of those topics interest you, make sure you do two things. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon so that YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. Also, I believe that people in the crypto space, they're some of the most generous people on the planet. So if you're feeling generous today, I'd really appreciate it if you do two things. Number one, smash the thumbs up button. And number two, watch this video all the way to the end. Those are really the two best things you can do to support a channel. So if you do that, I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, well, let's jump into it. So let's start with Twitter announcing that you're going to be able to send Bitcoin to your favorite creator slash influencer, or really probably any user on Twitter. They're attaching it to the Lightning Network, which is of course a new layer to Bitcoin, where transactions are much faster and cheaper to send money in Bitcoin. Now, they actually did testing on this back in May, and for right now anyway, it's only accessible through iOS. So only if you have an Apple device can you use this. They say they're going to be rolling it out globally, but like I said, only for iOS. I was trying to look for information as to whether they would actually roll this out for Android devices, but I haven't seen that information just yet. But if you do have information on that, leave a comment in the comment section below, because as a non-Apple user, I'd like to know when that's coming down the pipe. Now, of course, Jack Dorsey, who is the CEO of Twitter, has made no bones about it. He's a huge fan of Bitcoin. And he's actually working on some other projects to incorporate Bitcoin into Twitter. And he's actually said he's been even toying with Bitcoin mining on the side. Okay, so now let's move on to the fun stuff. The Ripple versus the SEC case. And I just saw something that was posted actually late last night, but earlier this morning I saw a digital asset investor tweet it, and I saw another person tweet it out. It was from Joe Hoft, who is from the Gateway Pundit, who does all kinds of investigatory things, and he's actually jumped on to this Ripple versus SEC case as well. And he came up with a video from 2018 from somebody very close to Jay Clayton, and they were meeting with Jay Clayton and a group of other people. Who was it? Well, this video was of attorney Lowell Ness, who was with Jay Clayton at Andreessen Horowitz having a meeting discussing how they were going to create a framework of guidance as to how the SEC should handle cryptocurrencies. Now, this meeting actually happened on January 5th, 2018. Later that year, in April 2018, Andreessen Horowitz met with the SEC to basically hand over that document that was outlined for them based on what Lowell Ness and Jay Clayton was telling them to write it about. This is the document that would then become known as Bill Hinman's opinion speech, that Ethereum is not a security. So it's interesting, all these videos that are surfacing and how much work and how many people and organizations were involved in writing the speech, that the SEC a couple of months ago said, well, that's just Bill Hinman's opinion. Well, there's a lot of people working on formulating Bill Hinman's opinion for him. I don't even know if Bill Hinman knows how much work went into that. So we have Jay Clayton and Lowell Ness talking to Andreessen Horowitz about what they need in order to formulate guidance for the SEC. So they told him, and there's a video, and I'll link it in the description down below. It's a really interesting video, but nonetheless, that came out, and of course, Bill Hinman gave his now famous speech that Ethereum is not a security. But here's when we start to look at the information behind the scenes as to why all this could be happening. Because there's something that Bitcoin, Ethereum differ from XRP and Ripple in this case. Because the question becomes, why did Ethereum get the safe harbor pass and then Ripple get thrown under the bus later that year? Well, let's do some recap. Bill Hinman, before he came to the SEC, worked for Simpson Thacher. And what did Simpson Thacher do? Well, they were a law firm that helped one of the biggest crypto mining firms go public. Now, why would you want to help a Bitcoin mining firm go public? What would benefit them? Well, Bitcoin being worth a lot more money would benefit them. So Jay Clayton declaring that Bitcoin is not a security, that kind of helped out with that. Also, keep in mind that this company was actually a Chinese mining company, which at the time, China was one of the biggest sectors of all cryptocurrency mining in the world. Things have since changed a little bit, but in 2018, this was the case. Now, Jay Clayton, who of course was head of the SEC, he was previously had ties to One River Digital Asset, which is a hedge fund manager specific to especially digital assets. Well, what did they do after Jay Clayton declared that A, Bitcoin's not a security, and after the Bill Hinman speech saying Ethereum's not a security? Well, One River Digital placed a $1 billion bet on both Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, they did this after the fact, which is probably to their benefit. Otherwise, there would be a lot of speculation about insider trading. So at least they waited till after those announcements. But nonetheless, they did it even though they had ties to then head of the SEC. And as a non-shocking piece of information, Jay Clayton, after his tenure as head of the SEC, guess where he works? That's right, One River Digital Assets. And of course, filing the lawsuit against Ripple on his last day in office before he walked out the door and handed the SEC over to Gary Gensler. Now, there's something that ties all this together, and it's the fact that both Bitcoin and Ethereum are what? Those are mineable cryptocurrencies. XRP is not. XRP was pre-mined. It is not a mineable cryptocurrency. And here's the thing too, with Bill Hinman having ties to a law firm that helped a cryptocurrency mining company go IPO, you would probably say that they would have benefit from Bitcoin and Ethereum being called not securities and their value going up because those are mineable cryptocurrencies. And how does Gary Gensler fit into all this? Well, there's not a lot of information about that now, but one thing that we do know is that he is not a fan of ICOs and pre-mined cryptocurrencies. But Jay Clayton didn't necessarily have that stance. That's a Gary Gensler stance. So why would Jay Clayton put down a lawsuit on his last day in office before walking out the door? So at the time, XRP was the world's #1 non-mineable cryptocurrency, meaning it was pre-mined. That's not going to benefit anybody that both William Hinman and Jay Clayton had ties with. So what do you do to the world's biggest non-mineable cryptocurrency? Well, you put out a lawsuit against it and you have it fight for its life and keep the price of it suppressed while the ones that you wanted to do well are, well, doing well. So this video that I talked about at the beginning of this video was, to some, speculating the final piece of the puzzle to tie all this together, which is why I asked Jeremy Hogan and John Deaton if a judge could actually just throw out a case based on the standing with which it was filed. Let me know in the comments section below if you think any of this is actually going to matter or if the government always wins. Or the other conspiracy theory is that this case is entirely smoke and mirrors altogether because the Federal Reserve, which is working on a CBDC, central bank digital currency, may or may not be using the XRP ledger to run it. Guess we'll have to see. Like I said, that's all speculation, none of this financial advice, but if you want to make sure you follow along with all these stories, including the answers on Twitter, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification icon so you can see when I release a new video. Follow me on Twitter, and if it's available, you can tip me in Bitcoin. But once again, thanks for watching, thanks for giving it the big thumbs up, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.